Machine empires are one of the most unique in Stellaris, and one of my favorites to play. However, there's not many guides or tips out there, so I thought I'd make a concise roundup of tips that I use when I play machine empires. These tips will help you dominate the galaxy more than you did before this video. There's tips for new players, as well as some for more experienced. So plug yourself in, and let's get to the first tip, which is robots' base production for energy is the highest for any pops in the game, so focus your economy around energy. Robots also have an energy upkeep rather than food and consumer goods, and most jobs take energy, such as researchers, so this is a double whammy. This is the reason that the energy trait is S tier, and if you take the desert world preference, it gives you a slightly bigger chance of getting more energy districts in your guaranteed habitable planets. Energy can also be further capitalized upon with the tech global energy management, as it gives you an edict capacity subsidies, which gives you 50% more tech drone output, the cost of 0.5 upkeep from energy. So it pays for itself and just gives you more energy. It's a win. Also, the building energy grid gives energy credits from tech drones +1, an extra tech drone job, and more max generated district. This, combined with desert preference and traits, is insane. Speaking of traits, here's a quick fire of the best traits you should pick for robots. Superconductive, for the previous reasons. Intelligence, tech is king. Emotional emulators. More amenities means you can work less maintenance drone jobs, which means more resources. Mass produced. More pops, more resources. High bandwidth, -2 points for something that doesn't matter until later in the game, and you can remove it then. Win-win. Luxurious, -2 points, and the assembly cost isn't too high, so it doesn't matter too much. It's not great, but it's better than a lot of the other -2 traits. And one last great one is bulky. 10% housing, it doesn't really matter. Now into the game. To start, always build an industrial district first. Allies are the most important and crucial resource for a robot, and allies will be needed to get the next tip up and running. Also, make sure you're working good jobs. By default, for some reason, it works maintenance drones. So take them away until you're working all the other jobs like this, or you drop below 50 stability and then just add a few more and favorite if you need to go back above. Find and settle your colonies as soon as possible. How? Well, you can use your science ship to explore rather than survey, which is quicker because they don't have to survey every single planet in this system. And then you can just survey when you find these planets. You can also use your military ship to explore, which I love to do, but also make sure you keep an eye on it. They will get killed if they find a hostile encounter, so just keep an eye on it. Always survey directly from your space to the closest possible point to the planet. Instead of surveying like this, you can just go straight for your planet, and this can be done on a larger scale. You should also expand towards it with your construction ship. Rather than prioritizing the resources such as the minerals and energy, you would go straight and build the outpost. You can also monthly buy, like I'm doing with minerals, but you can do it with alloys. The max is 10 before inflation kicks in, and it's cheaper over time for smaller alloys amount to buy monthly than it is to buy the bulk. You can also build colony ships before you even have the system. So we can click here, click colony ship, and it's building. Then once we've surveyed here and constructed, the colony ship should be done because it takes a lot longer than the construction. It's all about efficiency. On your new colonies, always build a machine assembly plant first. This gives you an extra replicator job, and replicators give assembly, which means more pops. Pops are good. Star bases are also the backbone of your economy. In your government tab, policies and edicts, you get the fortify border edict at the start of the game. This costs a tiny bit of unity, so activate it just as you're about to build your first starbase. This lets them be upgraded 50% quicker, and you get more starbase capacity. Everywhere you can, upgrade starports until you hit your maximum. It's because it unlocks 2 module slots, which give you solar panels. They cost 50 alloys, but they produce 6 energy for the cost of no pops the rest of the game. And they also go up a bit once a resolution is passed. If you get hydroponics farming, research it straight away. You'll get a hydroponics bay, which will have an upkeep of 1 energy but produce 10 food, which you can then just monthly sell or get rid of food jobs if you needed them, which means they can work other jobs. This means each starbase will be producing 12 energy, -1 energy for the hydroponics bay, and 10 food, which you can monthly sell for 7 energy. And you can have 5 from the start of the game, and you get more technology. These are the backbone of your economy at the start of the game. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe. A bunch of you aren't, and it greatly helps out the channel. In terms of traditions, expansion is my favorite to go first. It doesn't really give much when you take it. We're here for the right tree. Each colony starts with 1 additional pop and 10% mechanical pop assembly speed. The left side is alright, but I just ignore it. Make sure to take this as soon as you can, but if you've already started colonizing, like Bera Prime, and then take the extra pop from colonies, you will get it. But from a colony you've already colonized, like done easier, we don't get the extra pop. After doing 2 traits of expansion, I love to go prosperity. The adoption effect doesn't really matter. It's what's within prosperity which makes it good. I first go for the right prefabricated buildings. It's cheaper and quicker to build buildings in districts, which is huge when you're going to have lots and lots of planet. Because you're a robot, you can settle everywhere. I then go on the left path for less upkeep, more complex drone output, less upkeep from jobs, and then an extra housing slot. Finishing prosperity gives you 5% resources from jobs too. Now, depending how you want to go, you could either finish off expansion so that you have 2 ascension perks, but usually you need to go supremacy so that you get cheaper ships from here and more ship fire rate and just a bunch of ships. Once you have 3 ascension perks, it's up to you. Once I've done supremacy, I sometimes like to finish off expansion because then I can pick synthetic age, which requires 2 previous ascension perks. You'll now be able to take synthetics, which is another great perk. You require the technology's machine template systems, but you should have it by the time you've finished 3 traditions. Adopting it allows assimilation of other machines, which is fine, but we get a bunch of benefits such as reduced amenity usage, more pop output, more trait picks, less modified costs, and more modification points. And once we've finished it, capital building also provides an extra replicator job, which is more pops, and we get synth trait, which as a governor gives more menial pop output, as a scientist gives just research and anomaly speed, admiral gives ship fire and armor hardening, and our counselor gets more pop assembly, and generals get more damage if you cared. The rest is up to you. None of them are super solid. It really depends on how you want to play. Some quick Civic tips, as the game can be slightly different dependent on those. But for driven assimilators, always settle with the biopop. This means that you will build robots and grow themselves. If you don't do this, only robots will be built, unless a biopop migrates over or you move them. For rogue servitors, which, by the way, are my favorite build, so let me know in the comments if you want to see a full playthrough like my other videos for Rogue Servitor. This is an S tier Civic due to gaining unity from the biopops, as that's where robots lack. They also give bonuses to specialized production, complex drone output, 1% per each pop, so you can really get nutty outputs later on in the game. If using them, remember to resettle them so they start growing, and you also need an organic sanctuary or they're going to be very unhappy. In terms of traits, always use adaptive, rapid breeders, traditional, slow learners, repugnant. These traits are perfect for what they need to do. They need to breed anywhere, make unity, and will never be leaders or make amenities. So the perfect trait. Other good civics are Constructobot, which gives you build cost reduction, good for shorter games, and Rapid Replicator for assembly speed. This is good for longer games. Also, find the Curator Order. All empires that can do diplomacy can pay them to aid in their research, which will give you 10% research speed and 20 opinion. But Gestalts, however, can get the special event, can you share the fundamental principles of our knowledge. To do this, you need 50 opinion. So I like to ask about universe if you have that option, because sometimes you can get a bit more opinion, which will push you over the edge. Fundamentals of principles of knowledge cost energy and influence, but then your cognitive node gains a trait. This trait gives you 15% research speed and 25% survey speed, as well as an increased chance to draw red technology. This is very strong. You need it. How do you find them? If you see an icon such as this, that could be them. If you go into the system and you see a blue outpost like this, you found them. If it's green like this one, it's not, or purple, I'm sorry, you need to keep looking. Do first contact with them immediately so you can get the buffs as previously meant. If you don't find them, hunt for the symbol on the map or try and make communication with active sense links. Sometimes you'll find them that way, but sometimes you need to send your science ship near it to trigger the first contact. Finally, we can look at policy. The main one you want to change is production policy. We start on balance, but you could move to manufacturing focus, which gives you less menial drone output, but more complex drone output. This is great for when your base resources are fixed or just doing well, and then you can push science, unity, alloys to the moon if your unity comes from complex drones. If you enjoyed this video, you can check out the time I tried to use machine leader builds to go to the moon with resources. Check it out by clicking here.